All right, on tonight's episode of Python Papi, we're back inside our generative AI course. Let's have a look at what we went over tonight. Now, we didn't get to take any notes in our actual generative AI course because it was a pretty interesting day. Last thing I told you was I actually downloaded or I installed the TensorFlow GPU so we could stop using the CPU and start using our GPU. That was a big mistake. Somehow it disconnected me from the Jupyter notebook that I was using, so I had to uninstall everything and reinstall it. Fortunately, everything was still there when I reinstalled it, but now none of the imports that I was using earlier are working. So the depreciated imports are coming through now. So I don't know what's going on with that. This is the same exact thing that we had from yesterday. It ran perfectly. As you can see, these little imports that we had, but none of these are working anymore. So now I have to find the proper ones with updated version ones and swap them out so we can get everything moving forward again. Like I said, I have no idea how we could have gone bad overnight like that. Maybe it had something to do with trying to install the GPU version of TensorFlow. But yeah, that screwed everything up. So I actually had to uninstall it because it was no longer connected to our Anaconda prompt. I couldn't access it through the prompt anymore. I had to go through my own system to try to get to it. And then when I did, like I said, I was having an issue with none of the imports were working from previously. These imports here, none of them are working. They can't be found. So I have to find the up-to-date versions to actually get those installed and get our code running again. But I did actually get some coding done today in our here we go here our not our TensorFlow course, in our Hugging Face course that we were doing personally. The one outside of the course, we did a new section today. In this section, we will see how we can combine our code with PyTorch or TensorFlow. So as you can see here, we will start by applying the pipeline like we did before. Here's our pipeline, model name, model tokenizer, classifier. Our pipeline is still doing the sentiment analysis. We're still using the same model that we used last time. This one right here, you can see this is the model we're using. And the tokenizer is still the auto tokenizer from pre-train. This time we're going to be using two sentences instead of one. Now we'll be using multiple sentences as opposed to the single sentence that we were using previously. We will be using a list for our sentences. So this is our list here. You can see this is our first sentence and this is our second sentence. So we're just going to do sentiment analysis on both sentences. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to the results equal classifier X train. Let me explain the X train to you. So the X train is here. This is our variable. Instead of just having it be the result equals classifier, we actually pass it into a variable, and then we're going to pass the variable into our classifier method, and then we're going to print the results. And then we actually did the same exact thing here underneath, but we did it manually like we did last time. So we're going to be doing the same exact thing, but we're going to tokenize everything, and we're going to bring everything back manually. I ran everything already, as you can see here. So this is the sentiment for our first sentence. It's 100%. And this is the sentiment for our second sentence. I guess that one's pretty much a toss-up. It's half and half. So it's half true and half false. So you can see here, this is the first sentence. Of course, that's 100. And this sentence and this sentence here, I guess this is a half and half. So maybe it's half true and half false. But yeah, at least we got to get some work done. We got some coding done. And we got a little further with our pipelines. And this actually looks exactly like we were doing. Let me show you the notebook. This is exactly the last thing we were doing. We were building our own. We were building our own model here. You can see it's the same exact format and it's the same exact imports that we were trying to use. The PyTorch, the auto tokenizers. It's the same exact thing almost. It looks like it. But yeah, so yeah. Like I said, I'm gonna get everything back up and running and figure it out with this Jupyter notebook here and figure out what imports we need to actually bring over to get things running again. But until then, I will keep you posted every step of the way. For now, this is the Python Papi. You guys stay Gucci.